I'll be working with Sass, so I need to install two Sass dependencies, Node-sass and Sass-loader. These will work together to compile our SCSS. My goal is to build this site as fast as possible, so I'm going to install Codyhouse Framework, and this is our CSS library. Within assets, create a directory called SCSS, and within there, app.scss. Then import CodyFrame base from the npm package. Finally, let nuxt.config know that we want to use that app.scss. Now that we're loading Codyhouse, I need a place for my own styles. And Codyhouse gives me a starting point in their npm package. Go there and navigate to main assets CSS and copy the custom style directory. Then paste it in your SCSS directory. Finally, import each of those files in app.scss. Go to your console, npm run dev. And now let's head over to pages, index.view, and test out some of these new class names we have access to, such as text component, which adds typography formatting. Next, let's try our button classes. Awesome. Now, Codyhouse also has a splash of JavaScript to handle interactions like pop-ups and transitions. So I'll add that in Nuxt config as a script. And then I'm also going to add the JS class to our HTML tag. Why am I doing that? Well, the utility.js that we just added implements progressive enhancement, which detects when a user has JavaScript disabled. And if they do, Codyhouse is going to apply certain styles. For right now, I just want to assume JavaScript is always enabled, thus the JS class on our HTML tag. Now for the fun part. Over at Codyhouse, I've got some components saved. Starting with the main header, let's jump in there and view the code. Here, I just want to copy the HTML and place that within our app navigation.view component, replacing what's already there. And then I'll copy the SCSS for the header, change our style tag to SCSS, remove scoped, and plop that SCSS in. Right away, compile fails because our breakpoint mixin can't be found. This is because in Nuxt, CSS mixins have to be imported wherever they are needed. But I don't want to import those in all of my components, so I'm going to npm install the Nuxt.js style resources. This allows me to make mixins globally shared across my project. Register the style resources module in Nuxt config. Next, head back into Node modules and then Codyhouse Framework and copy breakpoints and mixins. Now head into your own SCSS directory and create another directory called resources where you'll paste breakpoints and mixins into. Finally, within Nuxt config, we just need to define which style sheets we want to be treated as style resources, and that is breakpoints and mixins. npm run dev, and you'll see that we can now compile. There's one thing left to do to get the navigation working, and that is to bring in its JavaScript. So I'm going to copy that from Codyhouse and then head up to our component script and create a mounted property. Within here, I'll paste in its JavaScript. This works because anything within mounted is called as soon as the component is added to the DOM. Now off camera, I've gone ahead and added two more components, a hero and a footer. And now I just want to show you one more component, which is the grid. I'll start by creating a section to handle vertical spacing with the padding utility class. And then I'll create another container for horizontal spacing using container and the max width class, which will control the maximum width of my grid. Now comes my actual grid, where I'll use the grid class and then gap-xl to create gaps amongst columns. Add a column And here I'm saying that I want this to occupy 4 columns up to the medium breakpoint. Last but not least, I will add 2 more columns, then expand this page to show you a perfect grid. So that was more in-depth than some other CSS libraries, but we dealt with most real-world challenges one would face implementing a CSS library in Nuxt. In the next video, we'll create a system for organizing our components.